Good evening. I'd like to call this meeting to order. First item on the agenda is comments on closed session agenda items. And before we go to comments on closed session agenda items, let me read those items. Item A 3.1, public employment, discipline, dismissal, release, reassignment of employees, Government Code Section 54957. Item A 3.2, student expulsion, reinstatement, expulsion, enrollment. Item A 3.3, conference with labor negotiators. Agency designated representatives are Dr. Cuauhtemoc Avila, Superintendent, Dr. Rhea McGavher Gibbs, Lead Personnel Agent, and Mrs. Rhonda Kramer, Lead Personnel Agent, both from Personnel Services. Employee organizations are California School Employees Association, Chapter 203, Rialto Education Association, and Communication Workers of America. Item A 3.4, pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9 D2 and/or D3, conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation, significant exposure litigation, number of potential claims is 1. And item A 3.5, conference with labor negotiator, Government Code Section 54957.6, designated representative, Board President Edgar Montes, unrepresented employee, Dr. Cuauhtemoc Avila. Do we have a first and a second?
So moved.
Second.
And do we have any comments on closed session, Dr. Avila?
We do not.
All right, vote by board members.
Aye.
Aye. And Mr. Martinez, that was an aye?
Yes, sir. Aye.
Okay.
And
All
the
right.
time?
The time is 6:03. Can I get a motion to adjourn closed session?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Time is 7:04. All right, and then we go to item A5, open session reconvening, and we'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Martinez, would you do us the honor?
Absolutely. Please join me, place your hand over your heart, and begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you for that.
Thank you. Next, we go to item A7, report out of closed session.
No report.
Thank you. Now we go to A8, adoption of the agenda.
Move to adopt the agenda.
Second?
All right, any questions or comments? Okay, vote by board members,
All righty.
Aye.
Aye.
and aye. Next, we go to item B, presentation, B1, Rialto Project Impact. Presentation on the Rialto Project Impact by Dr. Rhea MacGyver Gibbs, Lead Personnel Agent. Please forgive me if I get this wrong. Is it Chinaka? Chinaka. Dom Wachuku. Thank you.
What
Thank
you
you.
said.
Dr. Dom Wachuku. Thank you. Dean, California State University, San Bernardino College of Education. Also, Dr. Becky G. Sumbera. And then also, that's Assistant Dean at California State University, San Bernardino College of Education. And Dr. Gregory Richardson, Project Impact Interim Director, California State University, San Bernardino College of Education. Welcome and thank you.
Okay, good evening. Good evening, Board of Education. To our President, Mr. Montes, Superintendent, Dr. Avila, esteemed guests, and innovation team. This is a proud evening for the Rialto Unified School District as we introduce Rialto Project Impact, a partnership between Rialto Unified School District and California State University, San Bernardino. I'm Dr. Rhea MacGyver Gibbs, Lead Personnel Agent and the Rialto Project Impact Coordinator. I would also like to acknowledge Lead Personnel Agent Rhonda Kramer. We are partners in everything, and so I thank Rhonda for all of the support, and we work this as a team in personnel services. So, Dr. Chavez made a presentation a couple of weeks ago, and this was one of her slides. It was the closing slide, and it said Project Impact, and it had silhouettes, and it said more to come August 24th. Well, today is the day that you're going to learn all about Project Impact and what it means for our district. So, it is our minority male teacher recruitment program. And why is it important that we do this? We're focusing on underrepresented males within the state of California, within our district. This is a partnership with California State University, San Bernardino, under their large umbrella, Project Impact. We will be offering financial support to a select group of young men to complete their multiple subject, single subject, or special education teaching credentials. And when they're done with that, they will have positions in our district working with our students. Project Impact is important because it's not just about sending men back to school. It's about supporting, mentoring, professional development, and all-around support. The key to our program, which makes it different from other districts that have participated, is that we have selected our very own employees to be a part of Project Impact. So all of the young men that you will see tonight are either certificated employees, hourly, daily, that would be substitute teachers, classified employees with our district. So why are we here? Why is this important? Our current reality. So nationally, there are 3.2 million teachers. And of those teachers, 26% are male, and 10% nationally are Latino males, 2% African American. In California, there's approximately 320,000 teachers. And again, you can see the numbers. They mirror that of the nation, with a slightly lower percentage of African American male teachers. And here in Rialto Unified School District, of our 1,300 teachers, 27% are males, 11% Latino males, and 4% African American. So while our numbers are a little better than our national and California numbers, we still have overwhelmingly female teachers teaching our students. And why is it important that we recruit and retain males? Minority male teachers serve as mentors and role models for our students. When African American students have at least one African American teacher by the time they're in third grade, statistics show they're 13% more likely to attend college. And if you increase the number of teachers in front of our students every year, the percentage of them going to college also increases. 2 teachers in the elementary level yields 32% more likelihood to attend college, and also graduation rate will increase by 40%. Latino students make up 56% of the student population in the state of California, and 86% of the students in the Rialto Unified School District. It is essential to provide Latino students with high quality education and inspiration for our communities to thrive. And minority male teacher recruitment is a focus of our district. The San Bernardino County Superintendent of Schools, Mr. Ted Alejandre, and the State Superintendent of Public Instruction, Mr. Tony Thurman. And representing the County Superintendent's Office this evening, we have Dr. Robin McIver-Brown, who's the Director of Leadership and Outreach, and also sits on the collaborative of the community partnership with Cal State San Bernardino. I would also like to take this time to acknowledge our board member, Ms. Dina Walker, who connected Rialto with the collaborative so that we could begin this work, this great work that we are about to embark on. And of course, our superintendent, Dr. Avila, who always has a way of a look and a nod and says, do it. And so here we are getting it done. So we are excited to have with us our California State University partners. And we are honored to have the Dean of the College of Education, Dr. Chinaka Damochukwu. Becky Sambera, Dr. Sambera, is the Assistant Dean, and she works closely with Rialto, and she has worked tirelessly to ensure that our young men have a good process going through the acceptance of the College of Education through Cal State. And then Dr. Richardson is with us this evening, and he is the Project Impact Interim Director who will be working directly with the young men in the program. So now I'm going to yield the mic to Dr. Dam Wachukwu, Dean of the College of Education. Ooh. Well, we will see.
Good evening. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here. It happened that the address that was on my calendar was a different address from here. I've been here many times, but I thought probably the meeting is holding somewhere else. So I followed the GPS, and I got to your Rialto Unified School District Center where you have all the buses and and because I left early, I was able to get here on time. So please pardon me. I'm not tardy to things. It's not my habit. But I'm honored to be here this evening and to help launch this great opportunity. It's been long in the making. I remember when I came to CSUSB about 4 years ago, I came and visited Dr. Avila, shared with him some of the dreams and visions we have for the college, and he was very receptive. The COVID kind of slowed down things, but it didn't really stop us. So I'm honored to start by saying Project Impact is a dream come true as we attempt to scratch at a big problem that we have in the educational system. The problem of underrepresentation. The education field continues to see a significant underrepresentation of ethnic minority teachers across the nation. If you go to the next slide, in 30 years, the proportion of ethnic minority people in the teacher workforce across the nation is raising only by 12% over 30 years. Teachers of color represent only 20% of the teacher workforce across the nation. But if you narrow down to specific populations, next slide, please. 25% of U.S. students are of Latinx as of 2014 across the nation. The teachers are only 9% as of that data. The population of Black and Native American teachers are actually declining instead of rising at the national level. The next slide. Dr. Gibbs have shared a number of statistics that tell you why this is needed, but this is one of the most important numbers I like to point out from the National Center for Educational Statistics. Minority male teachers make only 5% of all public school teachers across the nation. Only 5%. And so when you put that in perspective of the school to prison pipeline that they often talk about, when males like me or some of you here go into the school system and they don't find people who look like them, role models, they feel like they are strangers in those environments. But when these male teachers of color are in the classroom, things change. The next slide gives us some numbers. They still struggle, these male teachers still struggle when they're in the classrooms. Why? Because even they themselves are often out of place. I started my educational career in East Los Angeles as a K-12 teacher. I was the only Black male on campus for the 6 years that I was at that particular site. I was the only person. So you can imagine the challenge of everything that has to do with every black kid was referred to me. And I have to help my co-teachers to learn how to manage their students because they are their students. So some of these teachers come in and they quit the profession because of some of these factors here. So we're talking about we recruit, but sometimes they don't even last. And that happens to black, Hispanic, regardless of the school setting, if they are not supported. So some of the positive impacts, which the next slide shows, is that 3 in 4 teachers of color work in schools that serve students of color. That's a positive thing. Elementary black students with black teachers score 3 to 6 percentile points higher in reading and math star tests. Black K to 3 students with black teachers were 15% less likely to drop out of school in high school and are 10% more likely to go to college. These are national data. A North Carolina study showed that black students assigned to black teachers in grades 3, 4, and 5 were less likely to drop out of school and more likely to go to college when it was narrowed to a state. Black boys in low socioeconomic backgrounds receiving free or reduced lunch in grades 3 to 8, but had black teachers saw increased college aspirations by up to 29%. Next slide. So, what does this really mean for you? As CSUSB, we happen to be the largest supplier of teachers in the Inland Empire. We are the only CSU in the system, and even though UCR has a school of education, it's very small compared to what we have. This past academic year alone, despite the pandemic, we put out at least 600 teachers, school counselors, and psychologists. So we are the leading institution to produce teachers here. The next slide shows us what is Project Impact. It is an initiative to create the diversity of teachers in this region by intentionally recruiting men of color with a special focus on African American and Latino men. We are engaging this through 4 areas of focus. One is recruitment. The other one is training, deployment, and mentorship. So we want to recruit. And that's why we are partnering with the school districts to recruit men and women that will serve in their school sites. We are giving them a training that is actually above and beyond what a traditional teacher educator is getting, because we are infusing very strenuous professional development activities along with their preparation. And we are also working to make sure that they are placed in the right places. We want to train them and make sure they are placed in school sites that they will make the highest impact. And finally, we want to mentor them. One of the problems that California has, I don't know how many of you are aware of the California teacher shortage problem. The problem is not necessarily that California universities are not producing teachers. We are producing teachers every year. CSUs alone produce at least 6,000 teachers every year. However, the school setting does not retain these teachers. Within the first 5 years, California loses almost 50% of the teachers that we produce. So our goal for these men is to retain them. That is why mentoring is part of what we have committed to do with this project. We are providing them ongoing mentorship that is going to last for up to 5 years. In many school sites, districts, about that time they would have gained tenure, and the likelihood of leaving the profession for a better job is reduced because of the scale of salary that rises for each year. They will be more comfortable, but also they're going to be supported through the process by people who are like them, who have experiences like them. We just finished matching all your candidates to mentors. And our hope is that those mentors will be with them for the duration of their program and into the 3 or 4 years of their teaching before they get tenured. So this program was launched in 2019, and that's when we kind of conceptualized it. And in the spring of 2020, we launched it with the first enrollment of men. Dina Walker, it's an honor to have you sitting at that board chair, because she's been one of our earliest supporters in this project through her foundation, the Blue Educational Foundation. This dream, Dr. Judy White, who was Superintendent of Schools for Riverside County Office of Education, also came on board with us as early as 2020. And Riverside County Office of Education actually helped us as we recruited the first set of men, about 10 of them. Riverside County paid their tuition, 3/4 of their tuition, and we looked for money somewhere and made up of the rest, because we want these men to finish their programs. Because one of the problems we also know about getting these teachers prepared is that some of them have family, they have obligations, and for now they are working full-time and want to go to school. It doesn't usually work out well. So we're trying to reduce the stress on them as much as possible by providing financial support and mentoring and all kinds of support to make sure that they finish. And I'm glad to tell you that the first set of men that we graduated are actually making difference already. We have 2 of them who are in Coachella Valley, who have started a program. They are teaching, one is teaching math, I think the other one is teaching either biology or something. But they've started a program reaching out to kids who are from migrant families, migrant workers, and starting a club, after-school club for them, and beginning to impact them in a very special way. So these are the kind of things that these young men are already beginning to do, because we are hoping that they will stay in the district and make a difference in their community. So let me round up by saying that if you look there, you see all the partners we have that are already working with us in this project. Riverside County Office of Education, the Growing Inland Achievement is a nonprofit that was established for this region. Dr. Carlos Ayala, he's an active player in helping us get this project moving. San Bernardino County Office of Education is very much with us, and Dr. Bright, it's good to have you here. All right. Also, Schools First Credit Federal Credit Union has been one of our advocates and supporters. So what about Rialto partnership? Your partnership is the first of its kind, because if you look there, our partnership has been with the county offices, but our goal is to get down to the districts, to work with the school districts, so that you can identify your own men who you want trained, and we can help you. It is the grow your own model, so that because when you grow your own, over time, they will stay in the district, they are invested in the district, and they will continue to serve in the district. So I want to, give a big shout out to Dr. Avila, Dr. Gibbs, and all of your team for working with us to get this off the ground. We're also on another partnership with your district, which is targeting the undergraduate population, in which we are bringing them in and making sure that we walk them through the educational pipeline. So thank you for opening this door.
Thank you so much. So we're not done yet, because you have to meet the men of Project Impact. So at this time, I would like to introduce our participants, and then after their introduction, we're going to hear just briefly from two young men in the program. So I'm going to start with, let's see, Mr. Kenneth Howes Jr. Kenny aspires to be an elementary teacher. He has been with the district since July 2006 in various positions, and he's currently the district parent center assistant. Thank you, Mr. Howes. And just so you know, the participants that aren't here, they started class. So they are at their university classes tonight. So Andres Lara is not here with us, but he aspires to be an English teacher. And now we will have Jacobo Lopez, elementary teacher. He's been with the district since August 2018 as a substitute teacher. Frank Nava has class this evening, and he aspires to be a math teacher, and he is an instructional assistant. With us this evening, Mr. Edgar Sanchez. With the district since June 2019 as a ground maintenance worker 1, and he is a future math teacher. Joshua Schufert, future math teacher. With the district since December 2019, and he is a substitute teacher. Omar Triana is in class this evening. And Omar will be an elementary teacher and has been with the district since 2014. And Jabari Watson. Jabari aspires to be an English teacher, and he's just recently joined the district as a resident substitute teacher. So these are the men of Project Impact. So give them a big round of applause. And now, I'd like to invite Joshua to the podium, Mr. Schufert, then followed by Mr. Lopez, who will just give a brief why they want to be a teacher.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you, Dr. Gibbs. Thank you, Dr. Damwachuku. Thank you, Board of Education of Rialto School District. And thank you, Project Impact Team. Thank you, Kelsey San Bernardino. Just briefly, thank you for inviting me and to share a few words on why I decided to teach. My name is Mr. Joshua Schufert, like the truck, Schuford. Although, in class, when I substitute, I ask the students to call me Mr. J or Mr. Josh, but never Mr. Schufert. I also had no plans in becoming a teacher or to pursue a math teaching credential while I was in college. Not until the last 9 years did the iron stubbornness to challenge what I feared begin to rust and collapse, giving rise to the dauntless aspiring young American here today, ready to change the world. It seems as though we have entered a new age of living for humanity, so I'd like to trailblaze the path with a short story. I always thought when I was young that school was unfair. It affected my morale and self-esteem. In fact, competing to get good grades and becoming smart and sharp as a young boy of this melanin-enriched DNA that I had, as we know as a black man, to be educated was a troublesome and turbulent task. Most of my 20s was an identity crisis of struggling not to conform to unfulfilling work while fighting immensely this racism and health crises with this erroneous mentality that is causing now. The fight is waging now still unmercifully. But I stand here today triumphing over my fears, accepting the valiant challenge to become an envoy of educational leadership and societal change. I have 32 years of life under my belt so far, and I plan on living another 100. I also have an eternity of willpower and a thunderous fighting spirit for educational success and the preservation for safety of our young scholars of Rialto, Inland Empire, San Bernardino County, and America. We are about to have an everlasting new wave of turning 100% of our students into magnanimous global citizens. Thank you for allowing me to share my story, and thank you for this opportunity to make change. I will do my absolute best no matter what. And lastly, a bright future is birthing a new era of change, and it's awaiting us. That's how I feel about this Project Impact. Thank you again.
Thank you, Joshua. Mr. Lopez.
Hello, my name is Jacobo Lopez. 22 years ago, I was riding in a yellow school bus on my first field trip in the 4th grade. I was the class of maybe 21 kids representing Lincoln Elementary School located right here in Colton, California. See, my mother was an elementary school teacher herself, 31 years of teaching kinder and 1st grade. She taught there at Lincoln her entire career. Needless to say, I grew up in the classroom. In the afternoons, I was there stacking chairs, grading spelling tests, rearranging the book corner, retaping the word wall. I did well as a student in elementary school, and I had continued success in middle school. It wasn't until I reached high school where my attitude toward school, grades, and teachers began to shift. Growing up, I didn't have any teachers who looked like me, who talked like me, or could understand what was going on at home. I became despondent, numb, and didn't have a high regard for my academic career. In fact, a counselor once told me in high school that no 4-year university would accept me, and that ever attending one would be a far cry. After I graduated in 2009, I went on to attend Cal State LA, San Bernardino Valley College, and in 2015, I graduated from the University of Southern California with a BA in Critical Studies in the School of Cinematic Arts. When I exited college, it was always the goal to do something that had meaning. Well, writing commercial after commercial wasn't doing it for me. So in 2017, I began to sub here in Rialto, part-time. Coming from a family of educators, I guess you could say I spent a little bit time running away from my calling. In 2020, I watched my sister at Joe Baca Middle School complete her 19th year teaching virtually. From the outside looking in, I saw how difficult it began to reach students who already were at arm's length. I saw an education gap here in our communities begin to widen. In 2021, I began to sub full-time here at RUSD. It didn't take me long to see how normal it was to have some students able to recite their ABCs sitting across from a student who wouldn't be able to write their own first name. When I look into classrooms now, sometimes I see myself, only now I'm in a position to step up and be the teacher and the role model that I needed when I was their age. I am a man of color, and I believe it is important for students to see that success and academic achievement is possible. It's standing right here. 22 years ago, on that 4th grade field trip, I got off the bus and I stepped onto the Cal State San Bernardino campus for the first time. Back then, we were all given shirts and backpacks, folders. It read, "I'm going to college." To the late Tom Rivera, and to my former tour guide and fellow RUSD teacher, Juan Luna, to Damachuco, Dean Damachuco, and my mentors here at Project Impact, and the support here at Rialto Unified School District, I would like to reiterate, I am going to college. On behalf of my peers here at Project Impact, thank you all for this life-changing opportunity.
So, the impact of Project Impact will be what they mean for our students. You're going to be in the classroom, making a huge difference, and you will see the product of your work through the lives that your students will live, just because you made this decision to become a teacher. So, out of the shadows come the faces of our young men, the faces of hope, resilience, equity, access, and excellence. We are Rialto Project Impact. Thank you. Board comments or questions? If they, okay, any comments?
Comments? Thank you, everyone. I know what kept you. I understand. Thank you for stepping up. Thank you for looking at my 24,000 kids and joining alongside this board to make a difference, to change their lives for the better. And thank you again.
So we'll take pictures, and then if you have comments, think about to cry.
Move around this way, yeah. Can you turn your shoulders so that we can squeeze in more? Come on in, folks. Squeeze in a little bit
Got that. Perfect. Let's look up here. If you get a little bit closer, it doesn't look that close in the pictures, I promise you. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. And I will do that.
Okay, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Look right here on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. One more. Nice big smile. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
And I would like to thank their families for coming this evening. Family members that are here, thank you.
Thank you for coming. It's
oh.
awesome.
I have one more to introduce.
Thank you for
He
coming.
just came from class. Oh, thank you. Andres Lara, yay! Go on. Go. So Andres desires to be an English teacher, and he's been a substitute library media technician, clerk typist, and a substitute teacher with our district. And thank you. I didn't know if you'd make it. Oh. So I think we need to take a picture again. One more with the, we got, yes, thank you.
This time we know that the wardrobe's going, so let's do this.
You turn this way this time. Just a little.
Same as last time, a little bit closer. You won't look that close. There you go. You can look at the lady with the big mouth. 1, 2, 3. And then go ahead, sir.
Sorry, guys, here we go. Now, can you take half a step this way? Right, not too much, a little bit back this way. I'm trying to get in between the two guys.
We don't want to get ourselves. Here, let me, here, I don't.
Scoot back a little.
There you go.
Yeah, there you
There
go.
you go.
Thank you so much.
She's good, she's good.
All right, guys, ladies and gentlemen, here we go on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Big smiles.
That's it. One more.
Look happy, guys.
Here we go. Nice big smiles. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
So were there, am I dismissed?
I was gonna make time. Oh,
No.
okay. Mark,
comment is just, again, so proud to see you gentlemen. I think one, because of the project, and we have been working for several years through the COVID and everything, and trying to get the project really off the ground and having some teeth and momentum. So just seeing this number of men here in the room is fantastic. And I know there's some others in class tonight. I mean, the visual of it is so significant, but specifically because you all are our people. So you all are our people from Rialto. So us having such a big impact on this regional effort is just phenomenal. I want to thank Dr. Gibbs because I know I bring a lot of things to the district, Dr. Avila as well, because when I'm out doing my work aside from the board here, and bringing ideas to our district. And I always want Rialto to be in on the cutting edge when things, I'm on the ground hearing, I'm like, we got to get in there right then. Rialto needs to be the one. And this is very dear to my heart because, of course, education, this is my background, this is where I am. And I believe and I know that if we've got people that are representing our, our communities in our classrooms, showing them that anybody can be a teacher, right? You don't have to start out, this didn't have to be, you could run for, how many years had you run? From being a teacher, you're calling, right? But how important that is, but they can see themselves as a leader, as a mentor, as a change maker in a classroom. It doesn't mean that you have to run for office or do anything else, but inside the classroom. So I am very grateful for the time that you have committed to this effort, because this is just the beginning. I am thankful for all the hard work that Dr. Gibbs has done, Dr. Avila, because you've had to be on these meetings, and we're all now in the statewide work too. So Rialto is moving for the region, and I'm excited about it. The partnership with Cal State San Bernardino has been phenomenal. And I know that, we don't always at the district level always move in the pace that others move. Thank you for being patient through different staff changes and everything. So Dr. Richardson as well, thank you for your mentorship and shepherding these men into this profession that is a heralded, glorious profession, and we just need to lift it up in that way so that other folks will follow your lead. So thank you for all the time, energy, staff, and everybody else. Welcome them, because they still have a day job. So make sure that we feel them welcome and support them while they're here in the district to continue on this effort. But thank you.
I just wanted to thank you, Dr. Gibbs and Ms. Kramer, both of you, for all your hard work. And Dr. Avila, thank you. I know how busy your calendar is. This is important work, though.
I like the name too. Project Impact. It's powerful.
Right.
Sounds like a super movie or something. It's good. Thank you guys for everything that you guys are doing, to the mentors, to the teachers, and the students in the program. Man, congratulations. It means a lot to a lot of people what you guys are doing and what you guys are going to do. So thank you. Thank you, all of you. Yeah. Anybody else? All right. Thank you. All right, so next we'll go to item C, comments, C1, public comments not on the agenda. Any person wishing to speak at this time will be granted 3 minutes. Comments not on the agenda.
I don't want the 3 minutes, but I just want to say thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, proud mother.
Yeah, I love it. Is that one of her sons?
Yes, her youngest. Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah, he was my student at Summit. Are they closing the door?
And before we move on, and before she sneaks out, I just want to recognize Mrs. Dr. Robin MacGyver Gibbs, who sat on this side of the boardroom for many years with us here. Thank you for everything.
And as we get started with public comments, I do know that generally we have a time frame for presentations. This was much longer, but I think it was well worth it.
Oh,
It was also a surprise. I don't know if you saw Dr. Gibbs. She wasn't expecting a full presentation by Dr. Danwachuku. It was part of her presentation, but I think in the end it was very informative and very well worth it. With that, we'll transition to items not on the agenda. We have Dr. Robin MacGyver Brown.
Well, good evening, Board. It is always an honor to come back to Rialto. And after that presentation, I think it is a great, perfect segue. I am here to talk about and welcome you and invite you to our 2022 Countywide Parent Summit. And we have a special guest who I think you may all know. And Dr. Avila is going to be one of our featured speakers. So I came to support the work that Rialto is doing, but as I saw the young men, I thought, what a role model in a superintendent that they can look up to be able to make the choice to go in the path of education and serve. And what an important role model who is now going to also be with us at the county level to talk to our parents about how they can continue to be involved and listen to his journey and story. So I have a few flyers that I'm going to give to, I believe, Mr. Johnson, who will just pass it out to you. You may have seen this on social media, but wanted you to take a special note on the second page. Dr. Avila looks perfect, and he is going to be, the picture looks awesome. And we want to invite you, because we are not only speaking to all the parents in the county that your superintendent will be able to have access and speak to and provide this role model of information, but also we invite those from Riverside County as well. So it's really a cross-county parent summit on Saturday, September 24th. And we are expecting a large crowd because we are back in person at Cal State San Bernardino in their new San Manuel building. And we are just so excited. And I wanted to come here in person to thank him for accepting, because that actually happens to be under my department. And I learned how to do all things well with parent involvement right here in Rialto, and our leaders at the table were with me from the very beginning. So I appreciate them, and we just kind of copied and stole and took the great work of Rialto and took it on down to the county. So thank you so much for the time, and we hope to see you.
Thank you. Thank you again, Dr. Robin MacGyver Brown. Thank you.
Next, we have Tobin Brinker.
Good evening, Board. Tobin Brinker, teacher at Kusera Middle School. I wanted to start this school year and this evening in gratitude. So I'd like to start by just saying thank you to the board members and our superintendent and all of our district leadership for the good work that you do. I'm a new teacher at Kusera Middle School, and I want to make sure to thank the staff there. They have welcomed me, administration, teachers, the secretaries, the janitors, the security guards. It's been wonderful, and I want to start by saying thank you. This is the beginning of my 28th year as a teacher and my 23rd year in the Rialto district. I taught for 22 years at Frisbee Middle School, and now I'm at Kusera Middle School. Tonight I want to talk about what I call the value-added teacher. That is, teachers who add value above and beyond what the general expectations are. Everyone expects teachers to show up and teach their classes, but today's teachers do so much more. For instance, at Kusera Middle School, we just began to serve breakfast in the classroom, and I want to give a shout out and say thank you to everyone at the food services department, because I think the program is going great. The kids now get breakfast and lunch at school, Kids who don't want to eat the breakfast can donate their food to a share table, and every day in my class, it all gets eaten by someone. Feeding kids is now a part of my job. Last year, teachers everywhere took on the extra responsibilities of cleaning and sanitizing classrooms. We now monitor kids' health and provide extra lessons and support when kids are out sick with COVID. Every teacher I know does these things. But the real value-added teacher does so much more. They volunteer to sit on committees to help improve our schools. Last year, I sat on the Standards-Based Grading Committee, the African American Equity Committee, and the Middle School Ethnic Studies Committee, and I am not unique. Around the district, hundreds of teachers volunteer to join the school PTA, the site council, or to sit on district curriculum meetings, and we do these things because we care and we want better outcomes for our students. Value-added teachers don't go home when the school day ends. They stay and they coach the sports teams. They run the snack bar, they take tickets, or they man the gate at football games. Teachers chaperone dances and field trips. We give up our nights and our weekends. We do it all for the kids. We want them to have every opportunity that we can possibly provide. I see teachers sponsoring clubs and supporting student fundraisers. I see teachers doing so much for our kids because that is just what we do. I see our teachers. I came here tonight to let them know that. I see all of them. I see the ones who leave work to get home and care for a sick spouse. I see the teachers with diabetes, rheumatoid arthritis, bad knees, and other ailments. I see them showing up every day to do the job that they love. I see the young teachers working a second job so that they can afford to pay their mortgage or save money for a newborn baby. I see it all. I see the late night lesson planning and the early mornings decorating their classroom for a special activity that day. These teachers sometimes carry the heaviest loads, and they add value too. I love being a teacher, and I wanted to say thank you to all the teachers in Rialto. I wanted you, the Rialto community, to see what I see. We add value to this district and its children, far beyond what we're paid and far beyond what our job description asks us to do. I'd like to add one final shout out, if I may, and that's to the retired teachers who come back and sub in our classrooms. I see them too, and they add value, and this is a nationwide teacher shortage, and they need to be thanked as well. Thank you very much.
Carol Malone.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Karen Malone. I'm here to advocate for my kiddos at Jehu and Frisbee Middle School. I just want to know why. Why does every other school have breakfast in the classroom? Kolb, Jehu, Frisbee Middle. Sorry, you're distracting me. Besides these three schools, from my understanding, an application for each school site was submitted, and we were lucky to get all schools approved. There have been many reasons or excuses going around as to why programs are not at these schools. Let me name a few. We have ants. Well, call pest control. Too much trash. Order more trash cans. There's a lot of food waste. Let's encourage students to eat school meals, meet with them, find out what these students like and don't like about the food. We look poor if we give kids free food. Some students do come from a single income family household. My favorite one, from an employee. It's the parents' responsibility to feed their students before sending them to school. Well, when you come to work, you're drinking that hot coffee, eating those pastries and those snacks. Remember, it's your responsibility to eat before you come to work.
Diana Mejia.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Diana Mejia, and I'm here to advocate not only for my kid, but for every kid in this district. We have heard, like Ms. Malone mentioned, there's no breakfast in classrooms for Kolb, Frisbee, and Jehu. And it would be ideal that every family in this district has the means to provide a meal before school to that children, but unfortunately that is not the case. It is also ideal that every student get there 15 minutes before school starts. It is not ideal, especially now with the early start. with parents that have to have elementary, high school, and middle school students, taking them every morning to beat traffic, to make sure they get there early to have breakfast. Breakfast in classrooms is an essential need, because not every student has the opportunity to get there 15 minutes before school starts. Not every student is driven to school. Some walk. It takes them a little longer to walk. Then they have to get in line. If they're reserved to just an area, they're limited in capacity as to how many kids can fit in that area to eat their breakfast. So I would like the district to address this issue and find a solution with the nutrition services to provide these kids breakfast in class. Thank you. Have a good night.
Mirna Ruiz.
Good evening, everybody, board, President Montes, cabinet, audience, and viewing audience. My name is Myrna Reese, and I'm here. I know I only have 3 minutes, and I really want to touch on everything, so I'm going to speak real quick. First, I want to invite everybody for tomorrow. Alianza Latina is going to be having a safety event for parents. We're going to have Chief Gordon give a presentation on safety, so we invite everybody to join us. It's going to be virtual and in person. So if you have any questions regarding the safety of your students at your school, this is the perfect moment for you to ask those questions. And I also want to take the opportunity to thank Dr. Burciaga, Mr. Camarena from Myers Elementary, Mr. Garcia from Rialto Middle, Mr. Camacho from Eisenhower, Ms. Vega from Eisenhower, Ms. Maria Rangel from Nutrition Services, Ms. Ana Gonzalez, and Ms. Evelyn Dominguez for all the help and all the hard work that they've been doing. And I also wanted to invite everybody to our September 24th. Please save the date. I know Dr. Avila, they just made the announcement where he's going to be speaking, but we are Alianza is also sponsoring a September 24th, which is the first Latino festival in the district, and unfortunately falls on the same date that you're going to be speaking. So you can speak and then come back to our event. It's going to be an amazing event. Please, everybody, come join us. And then I also want to speak on behalf of our students, just like the previous two parents. I want to thank the schools that have breakfast in the classroom for all the students right now. Thank you so much, as I previously mentioned in the last board meeting. I think it's a great thing. But yet we still have 3 schools that don't have it. And I know the year just started, so I'm being positive. I'm thinking this is just a process. It's paperwork, I think. That's delay. But if not, we have to remember that we are here to serve our students, and we need to work together. So if we are taking our personal opinion or our personal, beliefs or whatever that we don't feed all the students in the classroom, then let's take that away. We need to work together, parents, students, all staff. We need to kind of take that in consideration at least this year. Can we try it, for all of us to really work together? Because the only people that will benefit out of that is our students. I think we need to let's start doing that, working together. Otherwise, it's not going to work, and I don't have to tell you what the consequences are, because we know. We are doing great things. I think this, Project Impact, it's amazing. I think it's really good, so thank you for that. Whoever, was involved in doing that, I think it's great. And also, 16 seconds. Special ed. Once again, I know we have a new director, but still, we need to make sure that we work together. We have to remember our kiddos. Our kiddos are the ones suffering. We still have issues. We still have a lot of concerns that are happening, and they're not being taken care of. And that's something that we need to continue doing. So I ask the board to please ask questions all the time. As for data, that's the one thing that's going to carry us over. Thank you.
Angelica Reese.
Buenas noches, miembros de la mesa directiva, audiencia. Venimos a apoyar el,
Members of the board, audience. We're here to support
el Departamento de Nutrición y le damos la bienvenida a la directora de Educación Especial.
the Nutrition Department, and we want to welcome the new director of the Special Education Department.
Esperemos que forme un buen equipo
We
de
hope-
trabajo
We can hope she can form a great work team
con profesionales con mucho conocimiento de educación especial,
with professionals who have ample knowledge of special education,
respetuosos,
who are respectful,
actitud positiva,
who have a positive attitude,
empatía con las familias de los estudiantes de educación
and
especial.
empathy with the families of students with special needs.
Thank you. Pasen buenas noches.
Gracias. Good evening.
Celia Sarabia.
Buenas noches, miembros de la mesa directiva.
Good evening, members of the board.
Estaba oyendo que me estaba interpretando. Ay. Buenas noches, miembros de la mesa directiva.
Good evening, members of the board.
Presidente Mr. Montes,
President Mr. Montes,
vicepresidenta Miss Luis. Oh, no está Miss Luis.
Vice President Ms. Lewis, but she's not here.
Superintendente Doctor Ávila, audiencia.
And audience.
Soy Celia Sarabia y represento al grupo de apoyo de padres de niños con necesidades especiales.
I'm Celia Sarabia, and I represent a group, support group for parents of children with special needs.
Esta noche los padres de educación especial
Tonight, the parents of special education children
estamos apoyando al Departamento de Nutrición,
are supporting the Nutrition Department,
a Miss Fasa, María, Cristina, Sara, Juan, Mike.
the people mentioned.
Los felicitamos por el excelente trabajo que hacen en nuestro distrito
We congratulate them for the excellent work they do in our district
y en nuestra comunidad.
and in our community.
Sin importar la hora, ellos trabajan arduamente
Regardless of the time, they work very hard
por el beneficio de nuestros estudiantes.
for our students' benefits.
Gracias por su dedicación y trabajo.
Thank you for your dedication and your work.
Queremos que todos nuestros estudiantes
We want all our students
tengan su desayuno.
to have their breakfast.
También queremos agradecerle a Dr. Burciaga,
We also want to thank Dr. Burciaga,
a Dr. Camacho de Eisenhower High School
Dr. Camacho from Eisenhower High School,
por escucharnos y resolver nuestras preocupaciones.
for listening to us and addressing our issues.
También sabemos que en la junta de la mesa directiva pasada
We also know that at the board meeting, last board meeting,
anunciaron que ya tenemos nueva directora de educación especial.
it was announced that we have a new special education department director.
Queremos saber cuándo empieza.
We want to know when she's beginning her
Nos
work.
gustaría darle la bienvenida
We would like to welcome her
porque nos urge que empiece
because it is urgent that she begins working,
para saber quiénes serán su equipo de trabajo.
so that we may know who her work team will be.
Necesitamos un equipo con mucho conocimiento en educación especial,
We want a team that has a lot of knowledge in special education,
profesionales,
professional people,
sensibles,
sensible,
respetuosos
respectful,
y con empatía a las familias de los estudiantes de educación especial.
and with empathy for the families of special education children.
Creo que pensamos nosotros que todavía falta que se cumplan
¿Se cumplen qué?
algunas recomendaciones que hicieron, que hizo el Estado.
We think that the district still has to address some of the recommendations that the state put forth
A educación especial.
regarding special education.
Nosotros también les queremos mencionar que nosotros escuchamos
We also want to mention that we also heard or listened.
de un programa de entrenamiento que se llama Amor y Lógica.
We heard about a program, a training program called Amor y Lógica.
Nos parece excelente
We think it's excellent.
el enfoque y el propósito de este programa.
The focus and the success that this program has had.
Queremos que nuestro distrito difunda esta información
We want our district to send out this information
para que nuestros padres sepan que contamos con estas herramientas para ayudarnos nosotros y a nuestros hijos.
so that our parents know that we have these tools available to help ourselves and to help our children.
Gracias a nuestro board,
Thank
a,
you to our board,
a nuestro superintendente, doctor Ávila,
our superintendent, Dr. Avila,
y a todos los maestros que ponen su máximo esfuerzo
and all the teachers who give their best effort
para que nuestros estudiantes tengan éxito.
so that our students are successful.
Y nosotros los padres
And we, the parents,
unamos nuestras fuerzas
can join forces,
y a nuestros estudiantes
and for our students,
échenle ganas,
go for it.
porque ustedes son el
Give
futuro.
it your best because you are the future.
Gracias por el proyecto Impacto,
Thank you for the Project Impact,
porque será un gran impacto para nuestros estudiantes y en nuestra comunidad.
because it'll have a great impact in our students and in our community.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Buenas noches.
Good evening.
Nancy Camacho.
Nancy Camacho. Así como escuchó a la señora Celia.
Buenas noches, miembros de la mesa directiva.
Good evening, members of the board.
Audiencia, venimos
An audience, we're here
a apoyar al Departamento de Nutrición
to support the Nutrition Department
y le damos la bienvenida a la nueva directora de Educación Especial.
and to welcome the new Director of Special Education.
Esperamos que forme un buen equipo
We
de
hope-
trabajo
We hope that she can
con
form
profesionales de Educación Especial
a great work team with professionals
que tengan empatía
that have empathy
y que sean positivos
and that are positive
y que apoyen a los padres de Educación Especial.
and that support parents of
Y-
students with special needs or special education, excuse me.
Pedirles que nos apoyen para que los niños tengan su comida en los salones.
And to ask you that you help that our students have their food in their classrooms.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Michael Montano.
Good evening, everyone in attendance and those viewing at home. I came to speak on 3 things, but 2 extra things came along the way before I got here. The 2 extra things are kind of related. One is we are still having internet issues, some of them being our new teachers and even teachers that have been transferred. This is kind of related. Don't have access to Synergy. So still having problems taking attendance and grade book. So we're being told it's being worked on, but hopefully that can be done a little quicker. So the first thing that I came to talk about, first and foremost, is thank you for adopting the district cell phone policy. So far, it looks like it's going to have a big positive impact on student learning. Second is student placement. We still need to do a little better job in placing our students in classes, just like students really don't learn all they can if we place them in a class way below their level. Just the same, it is also difficult, frustrating, and can be demoralizing, leading to off-task behavior and negative behaviors if they are placed too far above their current level of understanding, especially when it comes to math and reading levels. As an example, and just as we are looking into standards-based grading, how is a student going to pass an 11th grade English standards when reading and writing at the 3rd grade level? Let's look at the data and better service our students in our schools. And I have some handouts for you. I've already done some looking at my classes. I showed you some data last year at the semester. Told me I better look at this year and start. So reading tests, I teach 10th grade English, and the first one, the half sheet, that's their reading scores. This second sheet, or second copies, are my students' grades from second semester into this. Not very good. The first, it's 11 out of 31 students, not good at all. Don't know if anybody has reached out to these students asking, hey, is there, what can we do to help you? Is everything okay? I can tell you that I am going to reach out to those students, but I think we all need to do that. Lastly, to our board and residents, in the best interest of the health and safety of our students and community, please support and vote for city council members who will oppose the proposed warehouse to be built on Pepper just north of Frisbee Middle School. An influx of semi-trucks will be congesting Pepper, a direct path to Arrowhead Medical Center, and polluting harmful emissions very close to our schools. I believe there are 2 seats up for election. and Joe Baca Sr. will be running and is opposed to this warehouse, please consider endorsing and voting for Joe Baca Sr. for city councilman. And again, we don't want that warehouse and extra semi-trucks on Pepper very close to our schools. Thank you.
Maisha Calloway.
Good evening. I am Maisha Calloway, president of REA, which is the Teachers Union. Hello once again. Hello to the school board, Dr. Avila, and our innovation team, and all of the viewing audience. It was so excellent to see all of the future male teachers that were here tonight, and we do welcome you to our district already. You are ours and you belong to us, so we're so appreciative for that. I just wanted to say thank you to all of the awesome educators that have hit the ground running this school year. I've seen some awesome classroom activities in full swing. I know that we're still experiencing a staff shortage in some areas, and we do appreciate the members who are almost wearing two hats and assisting to make sure that our students are properly served. I know we're just in the third week of school, but we're really excited for everything that's going on. One thing that I wanted to also clarify from the last board meeting is that our awesome safety team, Officer Leary and Pat O'Connor, have been doing an awesome job assisting REA get ready for the safety plan and all the policies and all the resources that we have in place. They've been working hard to meet with the admin. I've been peeking in on the meetings. They've been breaking down all of the awesome resources that we have. We're also looking forward to all of the trainings that will be given to the members that are at the school sites and interacting with the students daily. As you guys all know, like I said, one of the main concerns of the members this year is campus safety, bottom line. They're really excited that their admin will also be more supportive with the students who need extra support on our campuses. The one thing I want you guys all to remember is keeping students safe also keeps employees safe. So we want to make sure that we stay on that target for the school year, make some major changes so that everyone at our school site is safe. And like I said before, I'm hoping we can get those SROs back. And that's all. You guys have a wonderful afternoon. Thank you.
Ana Gonzalez.
All right. Hi, good evening. Board members, staff, community members. I am Ana Gonzalez. I have a child at Carter High School, freshman year, so it's been a nervousing 2-3 weeks. But I'm here to talk about a couple of things too. Like Myrna, I'm trying to run this really quick. So first, I am here to stand in solidarity with the parents that spoke about the breakfast in the classroom. It was very unfortunate and very upsetting to hear that a member from Rialto Unified School District disapproved of breakfast in the classroom. And I'm very disappointed that the 3 middle schools that do not have this implemented yet, shame on them. And thank you for the principals that have implemented this. When I was a child, as an immigrant, as a bilingual English learner, my mother went to work at 5 a.m. in the morning. She didn't have time to feed me. And I was always looking forward to come to school to get my first meal of the day, to get my day started. And now my children depend on that, because now I too have to go to school. To go to work before my children go to school. So thank you to all the nutrition services team for providing this amazing meals to our students. I know that we have to do our part as parents and also as staff to create a culture for these students to enjoy their meals and not rush them through the process and make them feel like It makes them look poor. It's part of our culture, our Latino culture. And in fact, I wanted to share something that in 1966, the US federal government started this breakfast in the classroom idea. And it was started by the Black Panthers. I just wanted to put that out there. Anyways, secondly, I am here also to invite you all for our Alianza Latina meeting tomorrow on school safety, and also to the 24th, where we have exciting programs for the parents coming up. We have a website now on the Rialto Unified School District, so please visit that. I am also here to talk about a lot of concerns that have been coming up in our community regarding truck traffic and warehouse issues. It is in your police power to address the health concerns that are impacting our students, but also the staff that are working in these schools that are near warehouses. And so I also wanted to bring that up. I guess my other item is for the next one, sorry. So that's all my comments. Thank you so much for your time, and I appreciate Nutrition Services. Also, I'm sorry, I wanted us to close tonight in memory of our amazing Barbara Chavez, our school board member from Fontana and our Rialto Planning Commissioner. She did amazing things for our students, not only in Fontana, but in Rialto. So thank you so much for that.
That is all we have for items not on the agenda.
Thank you to all the speakers. Also, next we go to C2, public comments on agenda items. Any person wishing to speak on any item on the agenda will be granted 3 minutes.
We have one, Ana Gonzalez.
All right. I should have just stayed here. All right. So on tonight's agenda, there's a public hearing for item D 1.1, and it's a resolution to approve an agreement with Energy Conservation Services with Mesa Energy Systems. I just want to give a huge shout out to Rialto Unified for doing this. We actually fought at the CPUC, the California Public Utilities Commission, in wearing my hat of the Center for Community Action and Environmental Justice to pass these programs. And I wanted to read a quote from the bill when it was introduced, that the American Lung Association supported this bill, and they quoted, "This bill supports air quality improvements in California schools and advances zero-emission transportation infrastructure needed to achieve clean air for all Californians. We live in San Bernardino County, the worst air quality in the nation." And so thank you, Rialto Unified, for being proactive and getting these programs into the schools. I would like to also advocate for the district to move into microgrids where we can supply the energy for the entire school district, provide internet access, universal internet access to all of our students. Microgrids are a great way to get us into that transition to 100% clean energy. So thank you so much for your proactiveness. I am so very proud of this district for taking that initiative, and I thank the team for bringing that to our amazing district. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That is all we have.
Thank you. Next we go to C3, comments from the superintendent.
And just quickly, and again, know that we normally don't respond to public comments, but just want the public to know that we are moving forward with breakfast in the classroom at all the schools. There were some logistical concerns that needed to be vetted, conversations that needed to be worked out. And so moving forward, we are picking up the conversation starting tomorrow to see what needs to be done to get that in the classroom ASAP. The other project impact, I was very touched, not just by the idea of having males of color. Growing up, I didn't have one Latino teacher, my K-12 experience, but I did have probably 50% of them were African American, and half of those were males. And it had a huge impact on my education as well. So thank you, Ria, rest of the team, because I know that it takes a quality teacher regardless of ethnic background, but when you add the same ethnicity with that same level of quality, it can have a tremendous impact on the appreciation for education. So I know that this is just starting, but I can see this magnifying year after year after year, and the transformation of this community will continue. I always say that, as I was asked just this week, how do you handle stress? How do you manage stress? And I responded that I don't allow it to build. I just don't worry about things that I can't control. But when things do get hectic, I always visit, as I always say, kindergarten classrooms, because those kids remind me of my why. It reminds me that those kids don't care what's going on with the superintendent's office or what may be going on in the political world. They're kids. They're happy. They want to eat. They want to play. They want to learn. And that's how it should be for every child. So it's just a reminder to me that I should not allow the stress to build simply because I just need to make a difference. But I also visit adult schools, classrooms, and I did so again this week. And to be able to see the 5-year-old and the 46, 56, and in a few cases 60-something-year-old yearn for that knowledge and that smiles that they have on their faces when discussing education, and adults, grandparents in some cases, still see impossibility for themselves. And the things that we've been able to make possible through parents advocating for these classes, advocating for these programs, and us understanding and working with them in order to make this happen, it really makes a difference in how I manage my stress. And so being able to look again at the 5-year-old and the adult, and all the grades in between, because I visited Rialto Middle School this week. At the peak of lunch, it was probably 97 at the time, but still being able to see that positivity. No incidents, everybody out there supervising safety and security, intervention officers, administration, counselors were out there, and to be able to see the culture that can manifest when everybody has vested interests in the lives of kids. And so I just wanted to share that. Thank you, Mr. Montes.
Thank you, Dr. Avila. Next, we go to our very own board clerk, Mrs. Nancy O'Kelly.
I just want to say, wow, about the presentation tonight. That just really is awesome. I mean, that is growing your own. Taking your own teachers, getting them trained, and putting them back into our schools, and they are people that our kids can relate to, as they look like them. You know, it's the whole thing. So, I mean, I just think it's wonderful. It's first I've heard of Project Impact, but I am extremely impressed. And to address our diverse student population here in Rialto, this is much needed. And I know, you know, we are short on male minority teachers, very short. And I think our kids need to see more of that. So I want to thank Dr. Gibbs and Dina for starting this partnership or getting it going, because I really am impressed by this. So thank you. That's all.
Thank you. Next, we go to Mrs. Dina Walker.
So I just want to say thank you again. I've already said it to the staff and everyone involved in our partnership with Cal State on Project Impact, and some great things around our educator pipeline to come too. Yay. Just this past week I was able to, yes? Okay. Just this past week I was able to attend the opening and the ribbon cutting for Boyd Elementary's Parent Center. And I just want to say that this is one of those things that seeing all the parents there, seeing the parents at Boyd, remembering that these are parents who've been coming to our board members, having comments, to see some of their hopes and dreams become reality around what can be possible for their support on their campus. It really did something to me. I tried to make sure, I literally ran out of a meeting to make sure I got there on time so I could be there be there for the ribbon cutting, because that work is so important. Family engagement is so important. thinking about what happens when parents are able to come to campus, their kids being able to see their parents there, whether they want them there or not, the impact that that has when families are able to be on campus and be role models, not only for their kids and examples, but for the other kids as well. So thank you for all the hard work that you all have done in opening the Parent Center, to the district, everything that's gone into opening as well, and the support that will continue at Boyd Elementary. Hopefully, as these years go on and the other parents see how empowering it was to get their centers open up, that there'll be some additional parent centers around our district, because everybody can't necessarily all go to the central into the parent center off Palm. So this was great. I was excited about it. Just some great work happening. Thank you to the parents again and to the district. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you. Next we go to Board Member Mr. Martinez.
Thank you, President Montez, and it's been a great evening. I need more coffee, but our president needed some too. So I'm glad to share my cup here. Anyway, I want to talk a little bit about the future. Put my STEM hat back on. It's about time. Cybersecurity is the #1 job that is current and is anticipated for a decade or two. Reason for that is there just are not enough people qualified. Part of the problem, I estimate, is because it's still a growing trend isn't the word, but a growing discipline. And until we get some people with 10 and 20 years in it, so they have a deep knowledge base, that it's going to be a problem. And it's going to be compounded by the next generation of computers. And I wanted to just talk to you a little bit about quantum computing. Quantum computing, in general, everyone's pretty much familiar with the current state of computers. The speed, they're supposed to be fast, and yet you sit there and wait. Quantum computing, just to give you an idea, it's got both yes and no, on and off, as an answer immediately. They often talk about a cat in the box. Is a cat alive or is a cat otherwise? I'll put it a little gentler way. Am I allergic to the cat or am I not? And I won't know that until I call upon opening the box. Quantum computing says, I'm looking for a yes or a no answer, and because you're giving me both answers at once, it is that much faster. My history, I've been in electronics since age 12. So been going to school since age 14 on it. And they talk about this, a new discipline coming out. And even though they say it's current, it's new, everyone's getting involved, it's taken 20 to 50 years to roll prior disciplines out. I was, it would have been 1972, and they talked about someday we're going to be able to order things over the internet. They didn't call it that. It was cable at that point. I was working for a cable company, and they said, this is the future, and it should be here any day now. That was 72. So we know what that window can lead to. To give you an idea, back to quantum computing, about the speed. Current brute force cracking of a password. If I were a hacker trying to get into the school computer using brute force, meaning I keep going at it, bludgeoning it with every password combination possible, then eventually I would crack it. And with current technology, that may take 100 years. That's what a good password is. A brute force crack on a quantum computer would take 3 minutes. That's how fast it is, or is envisioned to be. Now imagine how troublesome security is on computers now. When a crack can come in at 3 minutes, we really need some security professionals, cybersecurity professionals. So young ones, kids, students, if you have anything in mind, whether it's cybersecurity, computing, or ditch digging, whatever the field that you want to get into right now, cybersecurity is the ground floor. Computers, getting through college about quantum computing, if you can get in on the ground floor, you can write your own ticket. By that I mean nobody's got the experience. They can't say, I can't hire you because you have no experience. Nobody's got experience. So when you can walk in and say, I know how to do this, and you can prove it to them, it's not really a test other than you sit down and you get it done. You can write your own ticket. So there is an opportunity now and coming up in the future that I need to tell you about. It is cybersecurity. We offer that up at Eisenhower. We are looking at Cisco Academy. And what are we looking at time-wise on that, Dr. Avila?
I would have to
Okay.
revisit the conversation with our team.
Okay. If not, it is available for free from Fortinet. And I will post that and talk about it in the future. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Martinez. So I just want to start with everybody's got a job to do or a role to play. And as long as we do the best that we can, I think no matter what that job is or that role that we play is not as important as how much effort we put into it. Dr. Martin Luther King once said that no matter what you do in life, if you're a custodian, a janitor, no matter what your profession is, if you do the best that you do, what you can do at your job, you're going to be a good person. You're going to be a good worker. In our district, nobody's more than anybody. Nobody should feel higher than anybody else. Whether it's our communications department or our nutrition services, whether you have many degrees, whether you make a lot of money, no one should feel more important than somebody else. We all have a role to play here. We all have a job to do. And if anybody's ever been offended by anybody else, we have to find ways to work together, because at the end of the day, our students not only look up to our teachers, and it's important that we have teachers that look like them, that can relate to them, but it's also important that the students have other people that they can look at as role models, like administrators, like campus security officers. Anybody can be a role model. Not just men, women as well, right? Lots of strong women out there, strong women role models. So regardless of your position, your title, what department you serve, we all play a critical role in getting this district to move forward, right? My Nino Roll Wilson used to say, if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. And I didn't get that before. I said, nah, I can't be, that drastic. And the older I get, the more I realize he's right. If you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. Because either you're not contributing to the solution or you're just not doing anything, which doesn't help the solution, right? But I want to just say that I commend the leadership of our superintendent, Dr. Patricia Chavez, and others who have really led the charge to transition our district from a to the breakfast in the classroom program. Now, if it were up to our nutrition services, we would have done it long time ago, right? But we have to look at other factors: transportation, busing, school hours. It'd be nice if everything could be done at the snap of a finger, right? But we're moving as fast as we're only as strong as the weakest link on the chain, right? So we're moving as fast as we can, and I commend them again for opening up, starting this school year with more than the amount of schools that were planned for with the breakfast in the classroom program. And then our superintendent also has just announced that they're going to find a way to make sure that all of our kids start getting the opportunity to eat both breakfast and lunch in the classroom immediately. Now, it might not be tomorrow, but it's going to happen. And I commend them and I thank them. It's something that the board has been advocating for. It's something that many people in our community have been advocating for. It's something that the governor of the state of California has allowed for us to do, which is feed all students, regardless of their economic situation, right? So we want to take advantage of that and make sure that the kids have the opportunity to eat at school, not just for lunch, but also for breakfast, regardless of the reasoning whether they can eat at home or not, right? The need in our community is there. I want to commend the people who give away backpacks. I know we have people in our district who've contributed lots of backpacks to give backpacks to students in our community. Lots of organizations come together and leaders in our community to come give away backpacks here in Rialto School District. And we thank them and we commend them. You know, Rialto Unified School District is a predominantly middle-class community. And there's no need to be ashamed in us providing free lunch to our students. To the contrary, we should be proud of it. We have a kindness center. We have a boutique where students can receive free shoes, clothing, without having to be ashamed, without having to be embarrassed of getting a little help, right? Many of us ourselves have been at one point in our lives, maybe could have used some help, right, or did need some help. So I'm not ashamed of being able to provide as much help as possible to our families. As a matter of fact, our school district stood out when we were able to provide so many meals to students during the pandemic when the schools were shut down and the students were taking courses online. The parents were able to drive them through our schools and get free meals, right? And just thank you to everyone for everything that you do. But remember, we all have a job to do and a role to play. And if you're not doing your job or playing your role, then what are you doing? Because as far as I'm concerned, we want to keep moving our district forward, and we need everybody to do it. We can't do it alone. One department can't do it alone. One person can't do it alone. And it goes for me too, right? I'm as a board president or as a school board member, I'm not more than any more than my peers, right? It takes a concentrated effort by everyone, including our superintendent, right, to motivate people, to motivate ourselves. When Dr. Avila first came to this district, I said, man, that guy's young, he's got a lot of gray hair. And then I look at myself in the mirror today, and I'm like, man, I'm young and I got a lot of gray hair. So whatever tips you can offer on handling stress, Dr. Avila.
Dye your hair.
I will highly take some notes and then some advice if you have on reducing stress and handling stress. But besides the point, I think many of us care. We're here because we care. And if we didn't care, we wouldn't be here, and we wouldn't try our best, right? So with that, thank you again to everyone. The feedback. We're always looking at ways to better our district. We're always looking for ways to improve our education system, our schools, and do what's in the best interest of our community. So I heard a lot of positive feedback regarding some of the concerns brought in the past regarding cell phone policies. I'm glad that some of the schools are starting to get some kind of handle on it. Will we ever be able to ban cell phones from the schools? Maybe not, but at least we can have some control and some restrictions on how often the kids are on their phones, and what they're using them for, right? So I think it's just a big issue for many parents that they want that access to their children, but at the same time, teachers and other adults at the schools deserve the respect to where if they're trying to teach or trying to show something or need help with something, and they ask a student to put away their phone, they should put it away. So regarding safety, we're on it. You just heard our superintendent announce all of the kids are going to have an opportunity for breakfast, including the kids that are a little bit late or right on time, like my son. But I literally dropped them off a minute before the bell. But I mean, everybody's situation is different, right? And again, it just makes me happy to know that everyone will have that opportunity. And thank you again. Thank you to everybody. All right, let's move on.
President Montes, if I may ask for special permission to restate a couple of things, because as the two young men spoke earlier, their stories, their message, while different, were very compelling. And as I began to share my message, I was a little distracted as I began to remember those teachers that had a huge impact on me. And I just wanted to make sure that I finished the point that I was trying to make regarding stress. And that was to, visit classrooms, visit those kindergarten teachers. That's what I do, those kids. But as I visit the adult school as well, you see the 5-year-old in those 50-something-year-olds. Because Sandra Cisneros, in her book, The House on Mango Street, says that we're like onions, that each year is a layer, and that 5-year-old remains, that 10-year-old remains, that 20-year-old remains. It never leaves us. And so do what you can to connect with that child and everybody, and it'll bring you that joy. And that's how I kind of mitigate the stress. The second thing that I lost was to wish you a happy birthday, Mr. Montes. President Montes has a birthday. So if we can do
I completely forgot. I must be getting old if I forgot my own birthday.
We've done it before, so happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Edgar. Happy birthday to you. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Truly, thank you. Thank you. I know my kids are probably watching at home. Dad, that's so cringe. But thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you, Dr. Avila. Thank you. All right. Anybody have anything else? Okay. Thank you. Next, we go to public hearing.
Move to open public hearing.
Second.
Any person wishing to speak on the public hearing agenda will be granted 3 minutes. And it's regarding resolution number 222312, approving an agreement for energy conservation services with Mesa Energy Systems, Inc., and delegating authority to take the related actions. Now, we've already heard a little bit of public comment on this item. Do we have any additional public comment on this item?
No.
Okay. The time is 8:47. And
do we have to take a vote?
Yeah, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And we have no public comment on the item, and the time is 8:47. Next, we go to D2, close public hearing.
Move to close public hearing.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And the time is 8:48. Next, we go to E, consent calendar items.
I make a motion to approve the consent calendar.
Thank you, Ms. O'Kelly. Do we have a second?
Second.
Questions or comments on the consent calendar? Okay, Ms. Walker, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Martinez?
Aye.
Ms. O'Kelly?
Aye.
Ms. Lewis is absent, and myself, aye. Next, we go to items F, discussion action items. We'll begin with F1, agreement with McGraw, Hill Education Assessment and Learning in Knowledge Spaces. Alex, also known as.
Move to approve.
Do we have a second?
Second.
And the agreement's to provide 14,000 licenses for the online Alex program for students in grades 6 through 12, effective August 25th, 2022 through June 30th, 2023, at a cost not to exceed $251,580 and to be paid for from the general fund. Questions or comments? Ms. Walker, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Martinez?
Aye.
Mr.
Aye.
Kelly? And myself, aye. Item F2, agreement with College Board.
Move to approve.
Do we have a second?
Second?
And it's to approve the renewal agreement with College Board to provide the PSAT 8-9 to all 8th grade students, the PSAT and MSQT to all 10th grade students, the SAT to all 11th grade students, and the Advanced Placement Program AP exams to all high school students enrolled in AP courses, effective August 25th, 2022 through June 30th, 2023, at a cost not to exceed $310,000 to be paid from the general fund. Questions or comments? Ms. Walker, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Martinez?
Aye.
Mr.
Aye.
Kelly? And myself, aye. Next, we go to item F3, agreement with Limonix, or is that Limonix, Inc., tomato.
Move to approve.
Do we have a second?
Second?
And it's to approve the agreement to provide Go Guardian teacher at Bemis, Preston, Curtis, Fitzgerald, Cordiac Simpson Elementary Schools, Frisbee, J. Hugh Cobe, Casera, Rialto Middle Schools, and Supanic Virtual Academy, effective August 25th, 2022 through June 30th, 2023, at a cost not to exceed $53,226 and to be paid from the general fund Title I. Questions or comments? Ms. Walker, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Martinez?
Aye.
Aye.
Ms. And myself, aye. Next, we go to item F4, agreement with Autism Spectrum Intervention Services and Training.
Move to approve.
Second?
Okay, and it's to approve the ratification of agreement number 2 to the agreement with Autism Spectrum Intervention Services and Training to provide applied behavioral aids, increasing the cost of the contract by $23,540 for a total cost of $573,540 and to be paid from the general fund special education budget effective June 1st, 2022 through June 30th, 2022. Questions or comments? Ms. Walker, how do you vote?
Aye.
Ms. O'Kelly?
Aye.
Mr. Martinez?
Aye.
And myself, aye. Next, we go to item F5, agreement with Nearpod Inc.
Move to approve.
All right.
Second?
And it's to provide interactive services at Morgan, Warner Elementary Schools, Cobe, Casera, J. Hugh Middle Schools, and Rialto High Schools. Effective August 25th, 2022 through June 30th, 2023, at a cost not to exceed $72,063.20 and to be paid from the general fund Title I. Questions or comments? Ms. Walker, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Martinez?
Aye.
Aye.
Ms. O'Kelly and myself, aye. Next, we go to F6, Reading Authorization Program.
Move to approve.
Second?
Thank you, and it's to approve to pay the registration fee for 76 teachers to enroll in the online reading authorization program provided by the University of Southern California from September 5th, 2022 through June 30th, 2022 at a cost of $4,000 per participant for a total cost not to exceed $304,000 and to be paid from the Expanded Learning Opportunity Grant General Fund.
Wait. Isn't that supposed to be June 30th, 2023?
Yes.
Oh, good eye, Mr. Martinez.
Good one.
Staff, you guys are letting us down. Mr. Martinez is showing us up right here.
It's the caffeine.
Yeah, I shouldn't have drank any of that. But, okay, next we go to the vote. Ms. Walker?
Aye.
I'm sorry, was there any comment on this item? I just want to say it's a great program.
I know.
No
I'm
comment.
excited for doing it again.
Yeah, I mean, I feel for the teachers who said it was very, very demanding and very difficult.
Oh, they're
but,
very happy they
but,
did it.
But yeah, once we seen them, at the promotion ceremony, the graduating ceremony for this program at the USC,
Right.
they were just ecstatic.
Yeah.
So
The only comment is on the typo. It was written by a Bruin. That's why we're sending them to USC instead.
No comment.
Dr. Avila,
how does it go?
for
How does
the
it
for
go?
the
Fight
public,
on. No,
you've
there it
attended
goes.
both of them.
All right. Ms. Walker, was that an aye?
Yes.
Mr. Martinez?
Aye.
Aye.
Ms. O'Kelly? And myself, aye. Next, we go to F7, Local Control Accountability Plan for fiscal year 2022-2023 with revisions.
Move to approve.
Second.
Adopt the resolution, adopt Rialto Unified School District's 2021-2024 LCAP for fiscal year 2022-2023 with revisions recommended by the San Bernardino County Superintendent of Schools with the purpose of identifying and meeting annual goals for all students with specific actions and services to address state and local priorities. Questions or comments?
No, I thought it was well done.
All right. Ms. Walker, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Martinez?
Aye.
Aye.
Ms. O'Kelly and myself, aye. Next, we go to F8, resolution number 222310, approving the selection of architects from an agreement of architectural services and related actions by district staff. Do you have a motion?
So moved.
Do we have a second? All right. And at a cost to be determined at time of services. Questions or comments? Ms. Walker?
Aye.
Mr. Martinez?
Aye.
Ms. O'Kelly?
Aye.
And myself, aye. F9, resolution number 222311, approving a district online tutoring service agreement with Varsity Tutors for Schools, LLC, and delegating authority to take related actions. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, thank you. And it's at a cost not to exceed $360,000 to be paid from the general fund.
How are students going to be referred to virtual tutoring?
Do we have any takers?
Yes, great question. We are actually going to promote the service. It's not on a referral basis. It's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and in every subject. So if a student is, doing homework at 3 o'clock in the morning, our AP kiddos or, those kids that do those, all-nighters after playing sports, and they're struggling and they have no one at home to help them, they can jump online and log on and get some support specifically in the subject that they need. So it's really a powerful tool.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments? All right, Ms. Walker, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Martinez?
After finding out whether I can get a password as well, a login.
Aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you. Mr. Martinez, Ms. O'Kelly, myself, and aye. Next, we go to F10, resolution number 222312, approving an agreement for energy conservation services with Mesa Energy Systems, Inc., and delegating authority to take related actions.
So moved.
Second.
All right, and just for clarification, this is the action item. Earlier, it was a, what do they call it? Slipping my mind. It was a public hearing. Thank you. Adopt resolution number 222312 and delegating authority to take related actions. Any other questions or comments? Ms. Walker, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Martinez?
Aye.
Ms. O'Kelly?
Aye.
And myself, aye. Next, F11, resolution number 222313, remuneration. Do we have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
And it's the resolution numbers excusing the absence of Board Member Dina Walker from the Wednesday, August 10, 2022, regular meeting of the Board of Education. Ms. Walker, how do you vote?
Abstain.
Mr. Martinez?
Aye.
Ms. O'Kelly?
Aye.
And myself, aye. Next, we go to item F12, amendment of the employment agreement for the superintendent to correct drafting error. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. And it's to approve the amendment to the employment agreement of the superintendent to correcting a drafting error. Prior to a vote on this item, the board president will orally report a summary of the drafting error. And I have that ready here. Pursuant to Government Code 54953C3, prior to taking final action, the board must orally report a summary of the recommendation for action on the salary or compensation paid in the form of fringe benefits of a local agency executive before discussion and vote. The proposed recommendation is to approve an amendment to the employment agreement of the superintendent to correct a drafting error. The current employment agreement requires 10 monthly life insurance premium payments of $1,792 when it should require 12 monthly life insurance premium payments of that same amount. This drafting error first arose in 2019 but was corrected via addendum. Yet that correction was not integrated into the most recent employment agreement, resulting in the same drafting error. This is a technical correction of a drafting error and not intended to convey a new benefit. All other terms and conditions of the contract for employment are unchanged. We have a motion and a second. Ms. Walker, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Martinez?
Aye.
Ms. O'Callaghan?
Aye.
And myself, aye. Item F13 reinstatement, and the case number is 19-2051. Do we have a-
Move to approve.
Second.
Thank you. And Ms. Walker, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Martinez?
Aye.
Ms.
Aye.
O'Callaghan? And myself, aye. All right. Next is item G, adjournment. But before we do, tonight we would like to adjourn our school board meeting in memory of three very special women. On August 14th, 2022, former Mayor Rialto Mayor Grace Vargas passed at the age of 81. Mrs. Vargas was the first Latina mayor of Rialto, serving 12 successful years from 2000 to 2012. Her son, Ernie Lujan, said his mother simply loved the students, parents, and staff of the Rialto Unified School District, and it showed. During her tenure, she supported various district efforts that she fundraised for, allocating over $50,000 for students from 2005 to 2012. Mrs. Vargas will be laid to rest in a private ceremony in Yuma, Arizona, where she was born. However, next week, a reception honoring Ms. Vargas will be held at the Grace Vargas Senior Center, which is named after her, on Wednesday, August 31st, from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. Also, a fatal automobile accident on Sunday, August 21st, took the life of Mrs. Barbara Chavez, a planning commissioner for the city of Rialto, a former Fontana Unified School Board member, mother of 5, and a lifelong community advocate. Mrs. Chavez's car was struck, tragically ending her life of service. Mrs. Chavez's funeral arrangements are pending her family's official announcements. And lastly, former Frisbee Middle School teacher, Mrs. Annie Laura Ashley, passed on August 10th, 2020, at the age of 90. After earning her bachelor's in arts at Cal State San Bernardino, Mrs. Ashley worked as a classroom teacher at Frisbee. Mrs. Ashley, Mrs. Ashley worked as a classroom teacher at Frisbee Middle School from 1979 to 1991. She taught social studies, PE, and English. According to her family, the friendly educator never met a stranger. Mrs. Ashley is survived by her husband of 72 years, Mr. Clarence Bernard Ashley of San Bernardino, 5 grown children, and many great and great-great-grandchildren. Her services was shared in the district's internal email. Services will be held on Saturday, August 27, 11 a.m. at the Church of Christ, 245 West Merrill in Rialto. On behalf of the Board of Education and Dr. Avila, our condolences go out to the families. Thank you for touching the lives of our students, staff, and families. Please join me in a moment of silence, followed by adjournment. Thank you. So the next regular meeting of the Board of Education for Rialto Unified School District will be held on September 7th, 2022 at 7 p.m. at the Dr. John Casalunas Education Center 182 East Walnut Avenue, Rialto, California. Materials distributed or presented to the Board of Education at the board meeting are available upon request from the superintendent's office. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Do we have a second? All right. Ms. Walker, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Martinez?
Aye.
Ms.
Aye.
O'Kelly? And myself, aye. The time is 9:03.